Welcome back to Is It Canon? My name is Tom, and that is Ann Bag. I was going to try to use some of the suggestions that we asked for people because we are going to do the giveaway. I think we're 1 week behind, but we're going to do the giveaway for the Blood Red Ninja comic. I have a spinner wheel, but you're going to have to stick around until the end of this episode to see who wins. So enjoy the episode. I forgot I asked you wanted an alter ego, and we had some suggestions. There's Hans Bag.
Yeah, no.
Then that gave me the idea to say handbag.
It has to roll tongue.
I know, but like handbag, but like in hand, ANNE, handbag. Okay. Ann Gruber. Nope. I was expecting some wild ones. It really was like a play on Ann alter ego gotta be Rocky.
That was one.
Okay.
Because of Raccoon.
With the theme song by the Beatles, Rocky Raccoon. Okay, so because it's raccoon related. Okay. That's the one.
What's the name of the raccoon in gosh, what's that movie? With Chris Pratt?
Pocahontas.
No.
Her good friend's a raccoon.
With Chris Pratt. Oh gosh.
Oh, it was Rocket. Rocket Raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah. You're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like Rocky. That makes more sense to me.
So Rocket, that's what you're going with?
No.
Have you seen those movies? You know he's like a little asshole, right?
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to be. All right.
You know me.
From now on, Ann's alter ego is Rocket.
We have to finalize it. It's so long.
What's so long?
Rocket.
Rocket's too long of an alter ego?
Yeah.
It's 2 syllables. We'll keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
But we are here to discuss issue number 9, The Kind Warrior. Lot of excitement around this issue. Lot of fan favorites.
It's the last one of 2025.
Last one of 2025. Written and drawn and art by Kate Wendels. And we had her on the podcast early on when we covered issue number 4. And she was telling us a little bit about this one and the creative process and how she's a fan of big hunky buff dudes that are shirtless. And that's why she wanted to do this issue.
Right off the bat, like it starts with VeeWorld.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like there was also a VeeLand at some point? I looked at issue 3 and they had also said VeeWorld. For some reason, I feel like at some point the word VeeLand came up.
We should probably check issue 1, right? I don't know. I mean, that might have just been like something I referred to it as when I, misspoke or something, but
community or something.
VeeWorld. VeeWorld's better because like it's all encompassing because I actually have written down it's VeeWorld, right? So like we've seen VeeWorld many times now and it's always wildly different. This one looks like it was in like Middle Ages, wartime. And it's like, so there's this town and several towns that we learn of, from we'll get to it where the woman who brings the sword, she's been to many towns per her words. And like, there's just regular ass towns with just people and not, heart picks flying around and all this stuff, wizards. So, it feels like it's like lost in time, but kind of, in the same world because it's a V world as, the Mystery Mountain and the Mushroom Mountain or all the really like fantastical places we've seen in previous issues.
Yeah, it doesn't really say which part it is, as far as I recall. Like a lot of the other ones, I feel like once they went there, at least at some point it would say like Struggle Stream or like Mystery Mountain or something. And that's the first time it doesn't say where exactly it is on the map. Which is interesting.
Yeah. I would love for one day to be like a map or a globe or something like that. That would be really, really fun. Like if you I know I have to bring up Legend of Zelda in every episode, apparently, which I already had something else to bring up. But like when you like in the older like Super Nintendo games, like it came with a map and it showed you like all the sections because it would, you would go, and then the whole screen would move to a new square. So they gave you a map so that you can kind of keep track. So I would love to see a map or something of VeeWorld eventually.
I wonder if they have one already and just haven't published it, or if it just develops as they write. I would think they have some kind of idea of like if you do these things, like how they at some point connect to each other.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, if they do that, then they have to live within those constraints. So it's like if they don't have to, why do that now? They may, but I don't think it's as important to like the stories yet of like where did this take place? Like, and then there's timelines like, you know, the ninjas, that's not really VeeWorld because they used real world locations. So, you know, they're not living in VeeWorld. So that was like a different place. Is Gary B's beehive in view? We don't know these things, right? But you know, timelines like the Kind Warrior versus Anna versus Mikey versus like all the ones that we've seen inside of VeeWorld, you know, or the Harpic, like Wizards and like the Warriors, like if it was kind of, you could see those being around the same time, but we don't know. And it's exciting that they have a whole universe that they can play with.
Mm-hmm. Like we talked before, like VeeWorld is going to become its own character kind of in the whole thing. Like in some stories, it plays a big part in it, and others it just, you know, you're in it, but you don't really know where you are, so it doesn't play as much of an importance, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, they, you know, per DJ, VeeWorld is what you need it to be, or at a certain point or something. So like, it makes you think like, if it's a fantasy world, like, but these people are working, you know, and living and doing all this stuff. But if is Theo the main character? So our Kind Warrior has a name. It's Theo or Theodore, and like, is this just the environment he needs in VeeWorld to be the Kind Warrior? You know what I mean? Like, it brings up questions, but I'm sure, you know, we're thinking too much into it. It's just like, just enjoy it. Shut up and enjoy it. Because it's a fun issue. I really do like it. When we asked for people's top three, it was up there for several people.
I wonder if it's also because of the topic it deals with. Like, I think the first time when I went through this the first time, I kind of looked at it. What are the overall topics of this book? Because these are all humans for pretty much the first time, right? There's no animal characters at all in it. So I feel like a lot of people can maybe connect.
Ninja.
True. Ninja didn't. So there's a lot of parenting and family things in it. Like trauma. I feel like trauma comes up. Revenge is part of it. Like, there's a lot of very, very human traits that we all have dealt with at some point that I feel like people can connect very easily to. Especially the parenting part of like the mom and the dad not being there, how that feels for a kid. And it's just a very real, I think, scenario that a lot of us can like empathize with.
Yeah. I mean, it deals with grief and how people are dealing with it. Mainly Lucas, the son, and his mother, you know, the wife of Marcos who passed away. And then our main character, Theo, who is best friends and with Marcos, and, you know, it's his sister that he was married to. So what's her, Ilana? Something. Yeah. So yeah, definitely some real human trait and issues to deal with, and it kind of dictates what the people feel and do and how they act and react to certain things, while having, you know, fantasy type environments and occasions that I'm very excited about. You know, it feels like it could be the start of a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this was the most like cinematic issue where you can really feel like it's very different tone, and it makes sense, right? It's you know, it's Kate's first issue in VeeFriends world as a writer. So, you know, it's going to have a different tone, but I think the reason why people are putting it in their top three is that it's somewhat familiar. You know, people know this like era, like, you know, battle, Spartan, you know, warriors, swords and shield type movies or something, like it's familiar to them. And if you like that genre, like you might like this. Plus you take your favorite IP of V Friends and put it into that genre. It could be a really good combination.
And for me, it's really my issue with a ninja was that I just didn't see myself in it.
Mm-hmm.
And with this one, I feel like I can see myself like in the family dynamics and like issues with that like I know, like as a mom, I can feel if it's like I know how she might feel in that moment, as a parent. Or like how it is to like raise a child, and then there's just like so much that comes with it. And I feel like that was where it really drew me in. That if you're a parent, you just know how it feels, and like it's also in a situation you never want to be in, like losing your partner, and then not just you losing somebody, but your child losing a parent. Like I think it's one of the, besides losing a kid, is probably the next biggest fear of anybody who has a family. So I think you can instantly emphasize with how that must feel and how hard that can be, even if you haven't been through it. But like everybody of us has been through some kind of loss at some point. If it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's a job, like we all have lost things that, or people that were important to us and that just change things, and just have to deal with it. And like sometimes we did well and sometimes we didn't. And I feel like that's what that story I feel like brought up for me when I read it. It's like just reliving some of the things that you just had to go through, and you don't choose these things. They happen, and then you kind of have to deal with it. And you can see in those three people how different they react to it. It's almost like mom almost not ignoring it, but almost like her whole focus goes on her son.
Right.
Almost not, I can't deal with it because my son is dealing with it, so I have to be there, which is I feel like a normal parent perspective to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's an indication of her being a good mom, right? She's putting her son's, grief above her own. I bet she hasn't really addressed it, because in this issue, it's about 6 months, they say, since her husband, his father, died in battle, or he went out on patrol. We'll get to the Sunday comics, but like, it's still fresh-ish. It's still within the first year. So I'll bet she hasn't really even got to address it, because she's so focused on her son's reaction to it. And clearly he's acting out, and it's impacting her. And she's like, I can't deal with my own grief of this situation, because I have to, like, his making sure he's okay is more important. And then, Theo had his own reaction too. I mean, if you had thoughts on that, like.
But I almost feel like it makes it worse for the son. I think as a parent, like you want to focus on your kid in those moments, but by you personally not going through it is also your kid not seeing you go through it.
Right.
And I think that Lucas almost feels like Theo is not really doing anything. His mom is not really doing or feeling anything, or showing at least the emotion, the anger that comes with like the different phases of like losing somebody. And I feel like he just feels alone. It's like, how can you not be upset? Why am I the only one being upset right now? And I think it's almost making it worse. Which as a parent, I feel like you just want to protect your kids and just want to be there for them and like not let yourself fall apart. But I feel like sometimes it's not, especially at his age. He's not like 3 anymore. He's like what?
Sure. I have no idea.
Somewhere between.
He said.
I would say he's at least what he looks like, at least 12-ish. Not older.
8 to 12, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. So like old enough to like be able to talk to a kid like that. Like I have a 9-year-old, and like I would talk to her about these things.
Sure.
I think it's really hard to like share your emotion with your kid when you just, as a parent, just want to like protect them. Like, I'm here for you. Don't worry about me. Just worry about yourself. And all they want to do, like, they want to find somebody who understands them. And I think right now he just feels like nobody understands me because nobody's upset.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're like keeping it together for his sake. And he wants to see, like, he's got so much pent up anger. And he says, if I was as big and strong as you, I would go, avenge the, or hunt down the killer. Right. But, or his mom, like, if she broke down and cried and screamed or punched or whatever, right. It's like, okay, thank you. Like it almost would have been, she's thinking she's protecting him, but like he might need to see that type of reaction to know, like, he's not the only one. So that's a really good point.
I feel like it's cool that they brought in revenge too, because I feel like that is a feeling a lot of us do feel sometimes. It's not always a productive feeling because it doesn't oftentimes do anything for us besides just being angry for a long time. But it's also a very natural feeling. Like to like when somebody does wrong to you, of like wanting to get back at somebody, or just feeling like it's your like it's almost putting, but it's oftentimes putting your power into somebody else's hand again. It's like I can't change what you did, but like I can change how I can choose how I react to it. But that's really hard for like a kid to do.
Yeah, that's a mature, like, I've done this. I've done the payback, revenge, knee-jerk reaction so many times, and I've learned that it doesn't yield the results you want. You're not going to get the reaction you want, or even if you succeed in your revenge, it doesn't feel that good because it doesn't bring back anyone. It doesn't, you know what I mean? It's never going to bring it back. And that's why, they say that in so many movies or whatever, like it's not going to bring them back. And then that's a very mature way to later on, you would like, okay, this has never worked out. So maybe let's try a different approach, which is pretty much what Theo's doing. Like he basically swears off. So he's a blacksmith. And he swears off working on weapons because of this. I mean, we've learned that so you don't need to read the Sunday comics to read this issue, but man, does it really enhance. I'll be honest, I'm not up on all Sunday comics, but this one felt like it was a necessity, and it's not a necessity to read the issue. But it felt like you gain the most from it because there's 3 lead up Sunday comics: The Road to Kind Warrior, and then Road to Kind Warrior 2 and 3. So I had never read them when I first read this book. And then when I reread this book, I read the book first and then went, I got to read the comics, the Sunday comics. And I went there and I read, and I'm like, oh, that's great, because I actually have written down a question of like, what's this about? And it's already answered. And it was mainly about the mysterious woman who brings the sword. So highly, highly recommend reading Sunday comics always, but like, especially for this issue. Yeah. So like, I know that the Harpic has, the Wizard Harpic has preludes and stuff like that, but I really feel like this one, and I would read the Road to Kind Warrior first, 1, 2, and 3, and then hop into the book if you haven't read it yet. But, as everyone knows, we do talk spoilers in here. So, if you're listening already, I'm assuming you read the book. But the book kind of starts off not on a somber note. It starts off, it's bright. I'm showing the page now for a list. It's, it's a sunny day or whatever, blue skies. It's just like this regular town square with like fruit vendors and people hanging out around a fountain. So, and then, the Kind Warrior, after the first person he tells, he turns away. He just got this like smug look, like, listen, guy, I don't give a shit. Like, it is what it is. Deal with it. So like 6 months later, he stuck to his guns. He didn't go back. And I just love, like, he knows who he is, right? He knows who he is. He knows that he wants to choose kindness, and he's like planting a flag in the ground. I'm not going to work on weapons. He said, I'll make a knife because you can cut food up with it, but something that's purely made to hurt another person, I don't work on anymore. And, sure, some people like it, and that's a bold move to do in this era and this time and place, it feels like. But, it kind of ties into Gary's, philosophy of like, if you're doing it for the money right now, if he was to fix a weapon, even though it's against his morals at this point, if he did it for money, you're just feeling that like the money's not going to make you feel good. Like, do what makes you happy, do what you're passionate about. And like, even if it's when he says like, I know people who make X amount of dollars, which is, maybe low to some standards, but are happy as shit versus rich and miserable. Like, he's a blacksmith who doesn't work on weapons, which is like probably 80% of what a blacksmith did in this time. And he's swearing off of it regardless that he might be losing money. And his sister actually even says the line like, I don't understand your business model or something like that.
Mhm.
I'll never understand your business model, little brother. So, but he knows who he is and he knows what he's doing and he believes in what he's doing. So I love that.
And like after she said that, he again like smiled.
Yeah.
It's about being
Oh,
kind, big sister.
right.
And again, it's like you said too, even if you do the same job or something like somebody else, you can do it in your own way. That feels like right to you, good to you. Like you don't have to do it like everybody else.
Right.
Like you can choose your own path as long as you're happy with it.
That's right. Even if it's unconventional, if you believe in it and you have conviction. So I loved that.
Mhm.
But we're only 2 pages in, and she's there. They have their little conversation, but then she brings up the issue that kind of starts the whole story, which is that her son's acting out in school, beating kids up or acting out violently, because his dad was a warrior. His dad was a soldier and a warrior, and so his dad, I'm sure, trained him and taught. It was a part of his life, and he probably always thought that he would end up doing that, and then his dad gets killed, and all that pent up anger with maybe some like mindset of being a fighter combined is a recipe for disaster.
I think that's again is the cool part about this issue, that you can see it out of the he was trained to be a fighter perspective. For me, like because I'm not into that kind of stuff, like reading about it or look movies, anything like that. For me, it's purely like I think that's what any teenager would do, especially boys. Like that's how they act out. Like it's by doing drugs sometimes or getting into fights. I feel like it's even if you take that warrior out of the story, it's something very, very normal. I feel like any parent could emphasize that you never want that to happen. You never want the call from school that your kid got into a fight, and I feel like it's a very real issue. I feel like that's why you can instantly connect with it. And even if you don't have kids, it might have been that you have been through that yourself when you were in school. Maybe you were dealing with stuff in school and like acted out. So I feel like it's just a very real scenario. I feel like it's for me, it doesn't matter what time it plays in or if there's a warrior story around it. It's like you could make the same story with just pictures of today and it work just the same.
Sure.
Like we humans haven't changed that much over the last
right
thousands of years.
So, they're walking and talking. Clearly he's a known person because like these little kids are saying like Theo's here. It might be just that it's a small town and he's the only blacksmith. And then he has this moment with Lucas, who's sitting on a bench. He sits down next to him. He's trying to be a fatherly figure, but also like he's his uncle. And he realizes that he's not his father, but he's trying to have that conversation and tread that line, to be a male role model and step into that. But, he's angry, not just at the kids. He did say like the kids deserved what they got, but like I should be doing something. And then he's like upset with him that he's not. Mm-hmm. Right. That he's not mad enough and doing enough to avenge his father.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you noticed, I think it's just because of the contrast, but like they basically assign colors to the characters. So it's only when there's, at least for now, because it's something I noticed, and I think there's some foreshadowing in the color. So Ilana's pink, Time Warrior's blue, which is kind of like his color anyway. He's got the blue helmet, at least in the original drawing. And then Lucas is green. Now it's on it really is only on the panels where there's no backgrounds, but Lucas is green right here. And then I'm going to fast forward a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
That the woman is green as well.
I thought you were fast forwarding to when he becomes this crazy creature. That's also all green.
It's all green. The word balloons change a little bit. There's an outline in white on those word bubbles, but I don't think it's an accident that Lucas has green, and then this woman, this mysterious woman, if we're fast forwarding a little bit, so they have a little argument. So I don't want to kind of skip through everything. They have an argument. And then Theo's a little frustrated, and this woman stops by and asks for a sword to be repaired, saying that it's a cursed sword. It has a chip or something in it, and it has to be contained because there's a curse inside of it.
Yep.
And the first person he's not kind to backfires on him. He basically tells the woman, please leave. I'm not working on it. The woman is persistent about it. You're a blacksmith. She said, you're the last one, which means she's been to others. And we learn in the Sunday comics, she's been to several towns, but in the other towns, they know about the curse. Theo does not know about the curse. He doesn't mention, or it doesn't seem like he does. He's only just saying no because of his, his stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she leaves the sword because it's the last thing, the last blacksmith that she goes to. So she leaves it behind in this panel. For our listeners, I'm showing the panel of her leaving the sword outside of his shop and running away and saying something, and it's in green, same color as Lucas. So it's almost like it was foreshadowing when he spoke in green, she's green, and then he's the one that ends up finding that sword. So I thought that was worth mentioning. Again, am I digging too deep? Grasping at straws, maybe, but I think there was a little foreshadowing there.
Mm-hmm. I was like, nobody knows what the curse is.
Correct.
Like, it's kind of what's it going to be? Like, I feel like it helps with suspense and like wanting to read more of it. Mm-hmm. Like, where's that coming from? Like,
yeah,
who made that? So like, there's just so much where you then I feel like later on can go off of. Like, where did that come from? Who made that originally?
Yeah, so that's definitely something that Kate planted a seed of, and we can revisit it. Does that mean she knows the whole lore of her own comic yet? Probably not. I mean, there's a lot of ways that we can go. There could be a prequel comic. It might just be a Sunday comic, and have a one-pager explaining it. But there was Sunday comic with, it was Road to Con Warrior 3. And that woman is walking through the woods, and she says, there's only one more town in the territory to visit. I need a blacksmith. None of the others would take it. And then she walks by Lucas in the woods. And, she asks, like, is there a blacksmith in the town up there? And he was like, yeah, there's one up there. So that's pretty cool. There's like a little interaction there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, we don't learn what the curse is, but we learn that people know what it is because it shows a couple panels of blacksmiths refusing it.
On the next page, when Theo and his sister are talking, and Lucas is kind of from the outside and wanting to go in before he grabs the sword, his mom says something bad is going to happen. Yeah. I feel like that's one of those parents' intuition sometimes.
Yeah.
Like again, like there's a lot of very real family themes in here that you just instantly connect with. Like we all had that as parents, that you felt like something wasn't right, something was off, to check extra on your kid. Like we all had that at some point, and sometimes it wasn't true, but like there's often times where I'm like, I'm so glad I did. There's just something in you that connects you with your kid, that you just know something, and we know, like if you read the end of the story, that there is something happening. So like her knowing like that there's something more coming.
Yeah, I mean the fact that this woman and Lucas had interacted previously, then that's the one she leaves it out. It's like this is what was meant to unfold, and the mother just had a bad feeling. That's a common thing, and especially in Star Wars, like I got a bad feeling about this, and it just kind of like sets the tone of like, okay, something's about to happen. And typical guy, he goes, it's fine. He's blowing off steam,
and it happens before, like she says that, the panel before he actually finds the sword. So nothing has happened yet. She knew before it actually happened.
Right. Yeah. And that was, I noticed that. And to the point where she says something bad's going to happen. He's about to walk in. Then he sees the sword. And then the next panel says, I just know it. And I actually went, wait, who's saying that? And then I had to like look back up because I was like, I thought it was someone who saw him grab it and was talking to him, but it's just his mom saying the continuation of, I know something's bad about it is going to happen. So, we don't know much about the curse, but what we do know is that it basically got triggered when it killed something. Because the next page, he's swinging around the sword, you know, a little rabbit pops out. And at first I'm like, why not make that radical rabbit? Well, it's because he swings and basically cuts his head off or something. There's blood on the blade. The blood on the blade triggers this curse to come out and basically consumes him. Turns him into this, we don't know, evil kind of sorcerer type thing where he's floating above. And
interesting is like the panel where he cuts it. I feel like he still looks like little Lucas. And then where's the next one? The next one up, it kind of looks from this angle. He looks so much older.
Yeah, it's like a
I don't know
lost
if it's
innocence.
he like that. Some things just make you grow up faster.
Yeah,
and that's what it did. And I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but like he instantly like he looks bigger and stronger and older and just like a different person.
He definitely does. You're so right. Yeah, and then so you know, and it's like it's the origin story of like I guess a villain. I mean, we don't know. He attacks. It's still their nephew, or you know, Kind Warrior's nephew, and a main character. But is it going to be like? Is it a rescue mission? Is he going to find you know? So basically, they have a little battle. They have a little exchange. He grabs the helmet of his father and the shield. Theo does, and then he walks out and he tries to talk to him. There's a moment where, to the point where Lucas is like, Dad, is that you? And it's kind of like he's trying to be his dad since his dad has passed, and now he's wearing the armor, and it kind of sets him off. And he's like, you're not him. You'll never be him. And attacks him using the sword. But like the sword kind of just floats above his head, and yet it seems like a sword beam goes down, and it's not like the physical sword. So I don't know if he can like create, you know, if he can like weaponize the green beams or something like a Green Lantern. But you know, pretty cool there. And then he grabs him, and I think that's kind of what, you know, Kind Warrior walks up, grabs him by the ankle, and then, you know, he throws him off, and then that's it. He's off the scene.
But I like that in the fight scene almost, it's all just pictures. There's not really words in it. That she just kind of lets it play out and just like let you be in it. But like sometimes the word bubble also takes you a little bit out of the actual panel itself. And I feel like this one is really just lets you take it all in. Them fighting with each other and like not Kind Warrior not really wanting to fight with him because it's his nephew, but also having to protect himself. So there's a lot of like stuff happening in that page. And I like on the next page where it says, you know nothing. I think it goes back to him not feeling understood. Like, you just don't understand me. And I feel like it's, again, is such a typical teenager, which he kind of like, it's a preteen probably at that point.
Sure.
Like, of, you don't know how it feels. Or at least I haven't seen you show me how it feels.
Right.
Like, you're not angry like me. You're not upset like me. Nobody's upset how I am. You don't get it. Right. Like a lot of teenagers go through that phase of just like feeling so misunderstood.
Yeah, and I love that he's still in there though, because when he grabs his ankle, he says, I miss him so much as well. And then next page, he cries. You know, Lucas is crying, and then he like throws him to the ground and takes off. So, you know, scared kid with new powers runs away, you know, but he's still in there. So, so that's why he continues to think that he can be redeemed, and he's going to go on this journey to find him. So, pretty fun. One thing that I did forget about the sword lady, she does say that, Lucas asks her in the Sunday comics, "You have a sword. Are you a soldier?" And she said, "No, but my father was." So we can presume that this is her father's sword, so that it's something that's like passed down. So I'm wondering if if it was like meant to be, can only the family line, you know, command this curse or something. I don't know. We'll find out. And that's why I think this one is exciting for a lot of people, because they can go in a lot of directions. We have a lot of lore we can work with. The lore of the sword, the journey ahead for Theo to go find him, and where did Lucas just go, and what are the powers is he going to learn, and is he going to really become a villain, or is he just off to find who gave his father the wound that got infected that led to him dying? Because we learned that he wasn't killed in battle, which I might have mistakenly said earlier. I did not mean that, because they made a point to say like a person didn't kill Marcos, infection did, or illness did, and he said, yeah, but it was from a wound that he got while he was out. So again, that whole story, we know he left. We see it in the Sunday comic. Marcos leaves, and then on the next one, they're at a funeral or whatever. They're at his gravesite. So we don't really know what happened there. There's a lot of story to be told here.
And again, like there was one panel right before, or like a page right before he turns into this green creature. I always I come back to the parenting, and that's like such a parenting issue for me, where the mom says, "I'm failing as a mother, Theo, on letting him down." And I feel like, again, that's I think we all had that as parent at some point, where you feel like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like, am I doing because for all of us, is like, it's always the first, it doesn't matter how many kids you have. Each kid is so different that it's always like the first time parenting that child. Like, you just don't know if you're doing it right. If you're like, you parenting out of like the skills you have in the moment, and like how part of it, like how you were parent, or like trying to do the opposite of you were parented because you didn't like it. And like, you don't know if you did a good job until your kids are basically grown up and they talk to you about it. It's always like, there's always a little bit of doubt as a parent. And I feel like that also makes a good parent, doubting yourself a little bit because you want to make it right. But like, if you don't doubt yourself at least a little bit, you just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, as an adult now, you kind of learn, like, my parents were doing the best they could. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't know what the hell they were doing either.
Yep.
Just like, because I'm a parent now, I have 2 kids. I'm learning how to be a dad in real time. That's what they, you just do your best. And it's a very natural reaction when, your kid gets hurt and you're like, am I fail? Like, could I have prevented that? Was that? So it's a very, very, there's very human elements to this, even though it's like a fantasy world.
There was something at the end too, on the last page. He said, I'm missing something.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. How did you interpret that?
And then it shows a different helmet at the end.
It does. I mean, but do you really think like it's like
I don't know if it's like a piece missing to the helmet, or if it's like a piece missing in himself. Because he almost goes, because he's so peaceful in his kindness.
Right.
I think you have to find a middle ground. There's a reason why I think Kind Warrior has the sword and the shield, that you can use both if needed. I think he almost went a little bit too far of like, I'm not doing anything.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see a sword anymore. I don't like, I don't know if it's like him having to find his own middle. It's, I feel like also a little bit like he's not really allowing himself the grief either. Like he there's no, and again, like there's a lot of time that we haven't seen before. Maybe he went through a phase, but I always feel like losing somebody like that is a big deal. And I don't think that's done in like, what, six months or what it was, they said. It takes longer than that to, they were really good friends, it seems like really good friends.
Yeah.
Like,
and
if
it's his brother-in-law and all that, so for sure.
Like, if you lose your best friend, I don't think you put that away in 6 months. So I think it's his way of like preventing it never happen again, without dealing with it.
Yeah, I mean, in the Sunday comic, they show him breaking all the swords and melting them down. And she said, his sister says, it won't bring them back. And he goes, no, but it might prevent them, this happening again. So, I get it. It might be the opposite reaction of her son, of Lucas, because he's going full on, like, let's go kill everyone. Let's mow down these bitches. But he, and he's just like, no, like, let's end all of it. And as most things, it's too extreme one way is bad. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't know how else to interpret it. I did see that there was the different color, adding like the little heart. I don't think they're going to actually add a little heart on top of the helmet ever, like in the series 1 drawing. But like, he touches his leg, he gets thrown to the ground. His sister runs over to him and he says, I'll find her. And she said, how? And he goes, I was so close. I had him, but it's like something was missing. It's not like, oh, if the heart was painted on it, then I would have had him. Like, I feel like it's a little bit something more than that. I don't think it's just.
But I almost feel like we talked earlier that Lucas feels misunderstood. And I feel like maybe that's the part that's missing. Showing him, like, I understand how you feel. I was mad too. That's why I broke all the swords or anything. Like, maybe that's the missing piece of, like, more empathy, more understanding. Like, I don't think he doesn't have empathy, but, like, more understanding of, like, that it's okay to be angry, and that I understand how you feel, and that I understand that it's his dad. It's a different level than your best friend. It's like, it's your dad.
Right.
And also, like, being young, that you don't have the same understanding. You can't, like we said, like, revenge is not a way to go, but that took us a long time to learn. There's still moments where we feel like maybe it is the way to go. And, like, putting that on, like, however old he is just like, he's not there yet. Like, he's just not there yet, like, at that age. Like, maybe a little bit more understanding or giving him different outlets to show that anger versus just saying, don't do it. Maybe that's the missing piece. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I don't know. I mean, it's a very common theme in, like, especially in superhero comics. Like, there are the two types of you can call them good guys. There's the ones that refuse to kill, right? They'll beat up and punch and stop bad guys, but to put them in jail for them to just keep breaking out and getting out and hurting. And it's like, then there are the characters like the Punisher, who bad guys, I'm putting down. I put them down. They stay down forever. They can't do this again. Where Batman puts the Joker in Arkham Asylum how many times, and he keeps breaking out and killing someone. And someone could say, like, if you just did what needs to be done, all the deaths that followed after you keep putting him in and he keeps breaking out are on you, because you won't do the tough decision because of this moral code that you have. And all the deaths that, that follow are your fault, where, that creates Punisher. But then, that is, what they're doing is, he's killing people, which, there's definitely, that moral conundrum of what to do. And if, that's kind of what's going on here. He's like, if he really wants to stop the killing from happening, do you stop the killers or do you take away the swords? They have different opinions. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see that clash of opinion at some point, I'm assuming.
That was interesting too, because, like, kind of what we saw about being kindness, and especially, like, in this issue too, of, like, why does he, like, in the series 1 drawing and series 2, he always has a sword and a shield. He always has both, mm-hmm. even though he doesn't want to use it. I wonder if the sword is less for using and more as a sign of, like, I'm gonna use my shield to kind of just let it fall off of me, because I know what you're throwing at me is really about you, not about me. It's just you being angry, right, or whatever it is. But the sword is there to show, like, that kindness is not being a doormat. I could use the sword, I'm just choosing not to. Right. I wonder if that's always, like, right, the intention of having bows, of, like, I'm going to choose kindness and just a shield every time, because I know it's not about me. But I also know internally I could use the sword if I needed to. I'm just choosing not to.
Sure.
which
Yeah,
is
I
hard
mean,
sometimes.
yeah, I mean, it's a real thought. I mean, there's a lot of characters like that, right? So, and usually, just to relate it, like, do you know the Ninja Turtles at all?
Mhm.
So,
I
like,
used to I had a book, one of my favorite books growing up was a Ninja Turtle book.
oh, well, look at that. So
Don't ask me to tell us.
that was like my favorite thing, and I've heard this thing like the leader is Leonardo, and he has two swords, and he like never uses them because like and that's intentional, right? All the turtles' weapons are intentional, right? So Leonardo has swords, but he doesn't use them. But like he'll throw them up into the ceiling, grab them, and then kick. So he like uses them as a tool, and that's
Mhm.
why he's the leader. Is because like he has the only lethal weapon, but he is the most like trained and disciplined of them, that it's okay to put a lethal weapon in his hands because he's too disciplined to use it. Where Raph is the red one, and he's like the hothead, and he has size, the like 3-pointed things, but those are defense. So it's like you give the hottest head a defense weapon rather than a lethal
Mhm.
one on purpose. It's intentional. Michelangelo is like the dumb party fun, whatever. And you give him, he has the nunchucks, the most like the hardest weapon to like
Mhm.
hone. And you give that requires like you focus and discipline and practice over and over to the most like reckless wild card character of the four. And then Donatello is the brilliant one, the smart one. He builds machines, he builds robots, he fixes everything. And what does he have? A stick. He has a bow staff. It's a piece of wood. You give the most technological smartest turtle a piece of wood on purpose. So it's like
Yep.
they're very intent, and it makes you like appreciate those things so much more. So like what you're saying about the sword, like he has it. If he didn't have it, he like you could say like, well, that's why he's not killing me, is because you don't even carry a sword. He's like, well, it's right here. I've been choosing not to use it. And
But
so like just to kind of relate that back to, I think that's what you're saying. Like him using the shield mostly is a defense thing. He's reactive, not going hot-headed into battle.
but now I'm debating he never really has a sword in the issue ever. It's always just
Right.
the shield. Maybe it is that he chooses not to have the swords because he can't handle it. Maybe there is a part of him that is angry because he destroyed all the swords. He wanted them all destroyed. Like so there is a part of anger in him that maybe he doesn't trust himself to not use
Mhm.
it and that's why it's not around. That's
Right.
why he maybe was so angry when she really wanted him to like fix that sword and he's just get out of here. Like maybe there's a part of him that maybe that's where the heart at some point comes in of like trust yourself. That you can have a sword, just don't use it. You choosing not to use it. It's like when somebody like quits a bad habit. Like not having it around is not the same as like having the bad habit around and
Right.
choosing not to do it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I wonder if it could go that direction
I
too.
mean,
That
he had swords in the Sunday comic. They show him holding one at the gravesite. Then he puts it into the ground with flowers. And then the next panel, it says several days later, he's like, I'm busy. What are you doing? Getting rid of them, getting rid of all of them. And it's him like throwing all the swords into the melting pot. So, like, you know, that was the turning point. So I'm sure he was, I'm sure him and Marcus were like battle buddy. Like they were in whatever
Mhm.
sort of military position that they were in together until he stopped and became a blacksmith, and Marco stayed in it. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he could use it. He just doesn't want to anymore, but he might have to if it comes down to it. And who knows, maybe like he's not going to kill his nephew, right? So like that's a redemption arc. He's going to
Yeah.
try to help him, but someone's going to try to manipulate and use him. Someone's that like there's a higher villain here. It's gonna they're gonna find out like who gave the curse, who's the creator of the curse, and that's going to be your real villain. And I'm sure there's going to be a battle at some point, and who knows, like kind warrior might have to pick up a sword for that part to save his nephew, to break that curse.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, of course, he wouldn't kill his nephew, but maybe he realizes at some point that to defeat the curse, he has to pick up a sword and actually fight him.
Well, yeah.
Destroy
Yeah.
that other sword. And that's like,
well, the one thing he's sticking to is that I don't build or work on weapons. And the one thing that could have prevented all of this is just fixing the weapon. So he's eventually going to have to do the thing. He's going to have to break one of his things in order to solve the thing. It's just a matter of how they're going to do it. Is it him using a sword and to defeat an enemy, or is it going to be him working on a sword, or is it, will there be an arc where he just breaks it completely? I don't know. And that's what's fun about this, is that we have a whole lot of story to go through, and it can be summed up in one issue. It could be, 100 issues, and there's a lot of lore to jump into, and I'm excited. And I think that's why, again, people are excited about this one, because they can see how we're just like talking. We can see how it's going to play out, because we've heard it's a familiar story, right? Of a family member loss. One goes this way, one goes this way, and then they're going to have to, battle it out to get to the solution. And it's just a matter of who has to compromise and all of that. So it's a familiar story. It's fun to think of, like, I'm sure there will be unique things of the history of the sword, the history of the curse. How old is this curse? How did it come about? That's all stuff that we'll get into that is going to be different. Do
you have a prediction of, I know they've been talking about what the first, or like wanting to start, like, I guess, what do you call that? Like expansions of certain stories.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction of like all kind of ended on a somewhat of a cliffhanger, but I feel like some were bigger ones, some were more talked about. Do you have an idea or prediction of what could be the first of like the last 9?
Great question. So like some of them I don't think need a second issue, like, or maybe it's just like my excitement of it. Like, I'm not pining over another Gary B comic right now, and it's not, and that's one of my favorite. It's just like, there wasn't like a cliffhanger. There wasn't like, sure, there might be more to that story, but it's not a continuation really of the first one. We got to know who Gary B was or is, and then like you can take him on an adventure now that we know his character. This is one issue of a bigger part. I think that I think it's going to be Fairy, because it's been the longest since we've had those characters. So I think that they've been working on it. Or it can be like, we already know that there's more to 1 and 1A. We know that there's more to that story already, but it also seems like they're not, like, it's been shelved, and not because of quality. It's just like, they're not building the story of a V-Friends character in that story. We're learning about the whole world of it, right? Mikey's dad creating, the dimensions and all of that. I feel like that was VeeWorld's origin story, not V-Friend, any specific V-Friend. So I think Fairy's going to be first, because it's been the longest since we've been with those characters, and because of how I think that's the most common answer in the top 3 that we got was number 2. And we have a classic hero, villain, go type thing. Yep. So I think that's a no-brainer. And I think that's what my prediction is for the first one. I think that one, I think Harpic. Really? The Harpic was, because it ended with another tale. Like, okay, go get the dragon now. Right? Like, we need you to play the dragon. So like, of all of the issues, I feel like number 4 was the most one that was just like, this is a preview. It was like barely a story. It was, hey, go find the Harpic. Harpic's like, oh, here's the horn. And then he goes, he brings it back, and he's like, okay, now I need you to do that. It was like a teaser trailer versus a story. Fairy, even though it was a mini comic, had a beginning, middle, and end. It's not the end of the story, but it, like, that story kind of came to a conclusion of like, okay, he's now bad intentions, fairies this, whatever. Like issue 3, mini comic, had a beginning, middle, and end. Obviously, they went off in the thing and they're going to go off on another adventure. But that story concluded. Like Viking was kind of a prelude as well. I was going to say like that and the Harpic, like here's a little bit of an introduction, but like it really didn't feel conclusive. There was no closure to it of the story that they started to tell. I mean, you could say, we got the horn, he brought it back. So that's the conclusion. It's just not that exciting one. That one I think needs more of a continuation for us to care about the Harpic and Wizard more. I feel like that needs it more than the fairy does, but I feel like people want the fairy more.
And I feel like I think very different ones. Like fairy definitely, but they've been so big on wanting to know how people to react to things and react to the comics that I think they're gonna not necessarily go next with what has been started and not really revealed, like the Harpic or the Viking, and more like what was the most reaction to people, and that's
Right.
what you want to go into. And I feel like that was.
So you're thinking monster is what you're saying.
It's fairy, monster, ninja, and kind warrior. For me, I think that's the ones that people talk the most about. Like they're really invested, and I feel like that's I think what they're gonna go off.
Correct.
Like 4 was not talked about a lot. 6 was not talked a lot about, and I think they're gonna go with where are people interested in wanting to actually learn more about.
You're spot on. I maybe misunderstood the question because I thought it was like, which one do you think needs it? So like, I
mean,
that
I wouldn't want all of them.
Of course, right? But like, if we're going up, like, if I'm thinking of ones that like need, the reason no one talked about 4 and 6 is because they're really like there wasn't much meat to it. So that's why they need a follow up, because otherwise it's just going to get shelved, and I don't feel like they got a fair shake. But you're right. Business wise, they'll go based on popularity, and I think fairy's the first one that should get it. Monster needs it, but again, like that had a really good ending. I'm not saying anything bad about the monster. I can see it in your eyes. Like where do you go from there though? Right? Like Harpic, what the next stage will be. Viking, you have an idea of where it could go. This one, like we know, like he's got to go after his nephew. After a Harpic, we know he's got to go. They got to go to the dragon. Where do you go with monster? I mean, you can go anywhere, but but like we don't have I don't have a thought. Maybe I don't remember the ending as well. If there was like a cliffhanger of any sort,
they could move into, because of the drawing at the end that his brother is Zealous Zombie potentially.
That
they move into a different character in it.
Sure.
Or like why he felt like it took over him. Like there's a couple of other things you go into. I'm just ready for it. That's all. And I had Gary talk about it, and I'm like, oh man.
Do you have a lot of like? Did it leave you with like a ton of questions though? Issue 5.
The thing is, like, I probably read that issue way too often.
Right, where I haven't read it since our episode on it.
Recently, they made like a reel about it where they show pictures of it, and then the narrator kind of just talks about it like briefly. And that story, I think I read it so different than probably most people do. I read the ending again, like for me it's a lot of metaphors and like how I read it and what I want to see in versus what the story was maybe about sometimes. In that narration they talked about how surprised he was that he would do something like that. And for me it wasn't surprising that he did. Like it was just him finally finding his voice, and that the killing wasn't really about killing. It was a metaphor of like pushing past something, pushing past other people's beliefs, and like just trusting yourself. But again, that's what I'm reading into it. So I feel like I don't really know where they're going to take it.
Right. And that to me, like it was obviously 2 and 5 are the most popular, or were the most talked about. I don't think there's any question there. because like you know, they were both the most shocking. You know, one was a twist, and one was just like, holy shit, you guys did that.
Yep.
So that's why it stirred the pot, and that's why I can see those two maybe being like the first two to move forward. Where Ninja, you know, we've saw people say that there's a lot you can do there, like the time jumps and all that. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like, again, like I didn't leave Motivated Monster going like I need to know more about that. Like there's question, you know what I mean? Like I didn't leave with all these millions of questions that I need answered in the next issue. And that to me like warrants it. So I'm sure we're going to get more Monster and zombie or whatever, maybe the zombie origin after that. I don't know. I have to reread it, I guess, because I've read it twice when it came out and then for the episode, which is what I can say about most of the issues at this point. I don't think I've read any of them more than twice. But maybe I should give 5 another read because like that question brings up like, where is it going? And it's fine that gets a follow-up because like they can go wherever they want. Harpic, they're kind of boxed into it. Not too much. You can make other things to go. Viking, you know, it's open-ended. Like this, you know where this is going. Time Warrior, you're boxed into like this is where you go. Like, yes, you can do prequels and side quests, but like the main line story, you know where it's going. It's and I want to know the sequel. Like I want the second one. So I don't know. I think Fairy though, because it only got a mini comic, and it was a great mini comic. And then there's you know there's a lot there that they can do with the good and bad.
It was such a good story. I feel like it's in a lot of people's top 3 because of it being so.
Yeah, it was definitely the most common.
One thing we haven't talked about, like 2 things. We haven't done favorite panel, and we haven't done the cover number B. Letter B.
Yep. Yes, letter number B.
It's the second time. What is wrong with
Second time, and you didn't even pick up on it the first time.
That
was so funny. So I forget what episode it was, but Anne was like, "Oh," and then there's number B, and I went, "Yep, number B." She just kept going and didn't realize until she was editing, and she goes, "I didn't even realize I said number B," and you caught on to it.
What's wrong with me?
Number B. Yes, let's talk about it because it is fantastic. Yes. It is fantastic.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Kate.
Yes.
Like, the art of it, like the green in the back, it's beautiful.
Love it.
It's stunning.
Yep.
Like, it's so different from all the other covers. Just about a lot of things, like the placement of the number itself. It's always up there. Like, there's so many things that are so different. Like,
it's very retro feeling.
Yeah, like it's not the same font on the top. Like I would always like it's very unique, and I love that they let him do that.
Yeah, me too. Tom Scioli. So they did the interview with him on the V Friends podcast. Cool guy. Really cool guy. We got to meet him at Comic-Con for a little bit. But yeah, I really, really love that one. I was so pumped to have ripped it, and it's now at CGC. But really top tier alt cover. Really enjoy it. Is the back cover the same?
Yep. I think usually the back cover is always the same. Yeah. Which is kind of cool when you like pull it. You don't really know what you're getting on the front.
What is this symbol? Like,
I'm not sure.
I didn't notice it until you just showed that, and I was like, wait, what is that? Oh, there's a heart, and then that's cool. I like it. It's just probably like a logo or something.
Yep, old-timey symbol. And I think he talked about that there's no really any star signs in it. If there is, it's not on purpose. He talked about that when he
like that. I like that the knee pads are red, or I don't know if I just noticed that the knee pads are red as opposed to the original V1 drawing is blue. Just cool.
And even his name is like, it's very just, it all fits within. Like it's, I love that they, again, allow people to do it very different for certain.
Can you hold it up again and zoom in or show me? Yeah, like that just you know why it feels kind of retro-y to me is that we know that, or at least I know that they're all doing digital art here. Like they're drawing on iPads. That feels more like, marker, pencil, ink, marker, like classic comic. I don't know if it is. I'm not smart enough to know, the artistic process, but that feels like a traditional, that they would have to scan into to do it rather than it being an all digital art. So very cool. What was it? Oh, favorite panel. I didn't even pick one.
I don't really have I think it's more like the words. That's oftentimes you talked about that for you it's oftentimes the background or like the scenery. For me, it's oftentimes like what's actually said in the panel that more for me. Where was it? That's where we need page numbers.
Another plea for page numbers.
Please, if you're listening, DJ, anybody. For me, it's this one over here.
The comfort one?
And he says, you're angry, I understand. It's only been 6 months. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to think bad things. But it's not okay to hurt others because you're hurting. I think that's something I, as a teacher, always said to my kiddos. Like, I taught 3 to 4 year olds, and like there's a lot of emotions that come from them, and they have no regulation whatsoever. And we talked a lot about that. Every feeling you feel is okay. Anger, pain, whatever it is, but what you do with it is important. That you can't just let that dictate of you hurting others or destroying something, or that feelings are never bad, but like what you do with it like is important. So that panel just kind of sat with me. Because it's something I've said so many times, like to my own kid too. But like as a teacher, I said that was a really, really big for me, that I always wanted people to feel like feelings are okay. Because a lot of us like grew up like certain feelings are not okay. Like there's good and there's bad feelings, and the bad feelings you shouldn't feel them. I was like, no, I feel like bad feelings, whatever you want to label them, just show you that something isn't aligned with you. Like you're not living within your values, your morals, whatever it is. And like every time there's like a really strong negative feeling coming up for you, it's like it's a time for you to sit down. Like, what's going on here? Like, what am I not doing? What am I doing that doesn't align with me usually? And I feel like they're just signs for you to figure out you're not going the right direction. And I feel like I always wanted kids to know that I would talk about my bad feelings too with the kiddos. Like if I had a shitty day, like I wouldn't call it a shitty day, but I would tell them like today, because parents.
Kids gather around. I had a shitty day.
Let's do this at the time. But we would be really honest about these things. It's like, I'm not feeling good today because I didn't sleep well, or somebody was really mean to me or something. And I would do the same with my daughter too. Like, no, I use more language with her because she's 9 already, but like we were really honest with her. Like I'd never wanted her to feel like, just like us, like we always felt like grown-ups have it so figured out. When I'm going to be adult, I'm going to have it figured out. Yeah. I'm 40 and have nothing figured out.
No one knows anything. We're all out here eating a shit sandwich. No one knows anything.
But like I wanted my kiddo to know that's normal. You will never have it figured out. And like the faster you realize that, the easier life gets. Like it's just, you just live one day at a time. You figure it out, and if something goes wrong, you figure it out again. That's just how it is. Like that's how life is. Just get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so right. My favorite panel. I'm between two, and they're very different. One is like my usual answer. I love the layout of this bottom half of the page, just as an action pose. I can see Kate posing like that just so that she can taking the picture so she can get that position, because that's got to be like hard to draw. Like I look at the perspective of like the arm going back, like that's a flat surface, and yet you can see through coloring and shading and all that his arm is bent and what's back and what's forward. So like I just appreciate that type of and she's really good at that stuff. Like when she has like the different perspective, like here. And I'm sorry for the listeners. So I'm picking the panel that the big green sword is hitting the shield in the battle between Theo and Lucas. And I'm just, it's more of the art of it and the perspective change between the.
Mhm.
I just find that good. But my classic Tom type of answer is the last panel. Because like it started bright in this issue, a quiet
Mhm.
town, fruit vendors, they're just walking, strolling along. Yeah, they have issues, but they're enjoying their day. Then they go through a dark period, and we know that through the coloring of dark and green and all that. And then that battle's gone. Lucas flies off, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get him." And it's like the sun rises again. Like, yeah, shit's gonna happen. The sun's gonna rise. Tomorrow's another day, or whatever, right? And now I'm gonna go on this journey. It's just like, again, when an issue ends like that, I guess that's the sun setting. So like, again, it's like it's the symbolic of like it's like today's over. The bad thing is like, yes, we have to deal with it, but like I'm on it. And when an issue ends like that, that's what gets me like that's a conclusion, like closure in this issue, and then we start the next one. Like, let's get to it.
Because it's such a common theme or thing. Is like, no matter what happens to you, like the sun is gonna set and rise. Nothing you can do.
Right.
You just have to like move on with it and like deal with it as it comes. I think that's what
you're gonna. It's impossible to get through life without super hardships. Bad things are always going to happen, and eventually, bad things are always eventually going to happen. But if you wake up, you've made it through every hard thing you've gone through. On the other side, like you're still here, you've gotten through it because you're still here. So, okay. Anything else on the issue?
No, it was a good issue.
It was.
Yeah, definitely had to read it again to like fully like get it in.
You say
to like really appreciate it again. But it was a good issue. I liked it.
Yes. Okay, so we have two very, very big Kind Warrior fans, Maxis, you could say, that are also dear friends. I asked both of them. I let them know we were discussing the Kind Warrior issue and asked if they wanted to talk about anything. I'm going to start with our friend Keith K-Save. We covered some of this stuff because he acknowledged and wanted to, he's excited about the different directions, Lucas's story, Theo's journey, the sword story. We already kind of covered that. He also brought up how much he loved Kate's coloring. He has a very, special connection with this character. He's had a similar situation, an unfortunate loss of a friend, where I know from the Sunday comic, he gave me his favorite panel, which is the one where I think it's in the very first Road to Kind Warrior, where Marcos is alive and they kind of like do this handshake and he says, "Thanks, Theo, take care of him for me." And he said that he had a similar, conversation with his friend before his friend passed. So this hits for him. And he wanted an emphasis on the Sunday comics because you don't need it to enjoy this issue, but it will enhance your enjoyment of it. He shared something with me. He said, hopefully I'm not overstepping. I guess we can confirm that before releasing the episode. He shared something that I did not know. He said that he lost his father at 4 years old. And so the whole, like, "you're not my dad" conversation, he said he's experienced that. He's had that. And so we kind of covered everything that he said, but it's, I think the biggest thing that he said that we didn't touch on too much is Kate's coloring. And I touched on it, like light, dark, light at the end. But he was like really emphasis on how much he loved Kate's coloring. And she like showed him a little sneak peek at Comic-Con and he was like super excited about it. So shout out to K-Save, our friend. The other big maxi is Savage Savvy. Have any of the Sunday comics hit harder for you than the main comics? no, not hit harder.
I think they're always in the moment because you don't know the story yet. They're usually leading up to it.
You're right. I would say that Kind Warrior, again, I admittedly, I'm not fully well versed in all the Sunday comics. So, but just seeing what it is, reading the 3 of these with this issue, you got it. Like, I'm gonna go. It's a necessity. I will do it before the next one. But I can see how someone might say, like, those 3 pages of Sunday comics for the Kind Warrior could hit. Like, you're getting the loss. Like, we're 6 months later and we're still dealing with it. This is like in real time. Yep. You're having the loss. You see him leaving. You have a face to the person that, like, you don't have that in this issue. They never show Marcos. So, like, you see him, you see the take care of him. Then the next issue, they're standing at his gravesite, the emotion of that, and then the planting of the seed to get you kind of like, ooh, what's this? You know, this woman, who is this? And what's this sword and all of that, the curse. So, like, I can see someone saying, if they had to say it being Kind Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Something about the Sunday comics. DJ just mentioned that today. That from now on, the Sunday comics be more kind of foreshadowing than anything else. Like, so far, they were, like you said, like prequels of the story or like part of the story. You could read them. And now they're just showing, for the foreseeable future, we will begin serializing or previewing some comic book stories in the Sunday comics. And then they show the newest one is from the next one. And basically just showing what's happening in the story. So instead of having like in between stories, which I did for a while, like that the Sunday comics were, this is what's happening between issue so-and-so and issue so-and-so. They're just going to kind of preview almost, it sounds like, the next issue. So I think they have been trying different approaches, because Sunday comics used to be their own story,
right,
nothing to do with the comics, and then kind of started with comic book 2, changing that. And then there was a ton of them around comic number 2. And then now they're moving into kind of just like, hey, there's a comic book. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. If it's just like a marketing thing.
You don't want it to be where you have to read the Sunday comic to understand the issues. You just can't, right? That's like a movie that has like a spin-off TV show, and then they have a sequel to the movie. Like, you want to be able to just watch the movies and enjoy it as it is. And it should enhance your thing. Like I said, with the Road to Kind Warrior, you don't need it to do this, but it does enhance the experience, but it is not needed. And if it became needed, they're going to lose some people. Cause if someone picks up the next issue, they buy it, you know, rather than it being a free in the newspaper, and they're just like, they're lost. Like, you can't have that. So,
and I wonder if part of it is to them now moving to 2 issues a month, and the team still being the same. Like, somebody had to make these Sunday comics, like a full comic thing every week. So just not having the time to do both,
or save it for the canon comics. I don't know. Yep. Okay, what is your wildest canon theory with the information so far released? Example: mine is that Lucas, the son, the nephew, is the start of the Green Ninja lineage, and Theo is the start of the Notorious Ninja lineage. I don't know how I feel about that, but the ninja colors, was it green and blue?
Was it? I know it was green for one.
It was definitely green for the one.
Where's my ninja comic?
Well, while you look that up, I think the one you brought up,
it's kind of,
I think the one you brought up that I've thought about many times is VeeWorld the Afterlife? And Mikey's dad died and went to VeeWorld. It seemed like, did Anna die? Did she and got to VeeWorld? Chris said no, right? As far as he knows, no. This comes
and
out
I think if it wouldn't work for example, comic number 5, because the Viking is an ancestor of the Loser Sins. So if he died, does comic number 5 play in VeeWorld? and not in the real world.
Well, that
So that's
takes
like,
place in the real world. So like,
so he kind of been died if there is a lineage of him.
well, what if he, but like the Viking issue, right? He's in this storm. The theory was, did he die in that storm? And then he wakes up in VeeWorld because he's dead. He could have still been a Viking and then in the real world, and then
I know, but that would mean because he came before the loser sins, have to be in VeeWorld because the Viking is now in VeeWorld. So to continue his
could have had
lineage,
kids before he died.
kids before, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a wild theory. I don't think it works because it's one fucking morbid for a children's brand, and that means everyone we're reading about is fucking dead, including Kind Warrior, because this was said to be this is in VeeWorld. This is not real world.
Mm-hmm.
This is in the fifth dimension or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that means everyone we're reading about is dead. So like it doesn't work. Yep. But I like the theory, and when you think of like, well, what if this and what if that and what if that, it's like kind of fun to think about. So what's your wildest canon theory? I think that has got to be it.
Mm-hmm.
But hers is pretty good.
Oh gosh, who was it recently? I want to say it was it's a mineral who said that he thinks that Mikey is oh gosh, why am I
From issue 1.
Yeah, he is the High Trooper because of his helmet. But the helmet doesn't look like the High Trooper helmet. So I don't agree with that.
Oh, right, because the helmet, the symbol
it's kind of
changes
like a
on the helmet.
heart-shaped thing. So, but it's not fully closed. So it looks very different than the Hard Trooper one.
Huh.
So,
I mean, it could evolve into it. That's a cool one though. Like, I like that. I like those because then that means like that is a VeeFriends character,
mm-hmm.
you know, and they could do a twist like that, and Anna can be someone, you know, who knows.
Yep, but it's cool that people have like their own theories.
Anna can be the angel.
Happening.
We don't know.
Yep.
You know, that's cool. Cool. Has your opinion changed at all in regard to any characters because of the comics? You loved a character before or hated, and now it's flipped. I mean, I think the easy answer is like, I don't know if I hated any character, but like I was indifferent and now I'm into it, you know, Bad Intentions being like the obvious choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was always like curious, but like, what's this weird looking rabbit? Rip said he didn't even know that it was a rabbit until the issue. And it's like, that's kind of crazy. Holding a carrot. So like getting clarity, it was like a nothing, like, what was he thinking when he did? And now it's like, oh, okay, cool. This is a cool, badass villain type character. I don't know if there's any that I like less, like I loved and now don't.
It's more you appreciate them more because of you have a story. Like,
yeah,
Monster was not a bad character for me before. It was a tier 1 and in series 2, so I know it was a big for that specific set of cards, but it wasn't like a big character. I feel like before,
sure.
Like not for me. Like I didn't have a story around it, and like hearing stories about characters that I just didn't really think about before. Same with like the ninja.
Yeah,
like, didn't really have a story before. Like it was a tier 1 character in one of the card sets that made it more special than others, but it didn't really have a story around it. What does it mean to be notorious? Like notorious is not something like a trait I'm drawn to, you know.
right.
But now I'm more invested in the character.
Yeah, I mean, like if I had to, but like, so they gave some background on it, and now I appreciate that. Like, there's a story. There's a really cool story there. I just had one that I'm like, so the Harpic, right? It's a made up character. It's not a real animal. It's a made up Gary original. And you didn't know what kind of direction it went to. It looks different in every iteration, right? Series 1 to series 2, cutesy. Then like Jim Mahfood's is wildly different from Kate's. You know, Kate's is like a intelligent, like well-spoken, here's your thing, you know, where Mahfood, who I know only did the cover, but like is a dark, creepy, whatever. So it's like, I don't like, by no means am I saying like it's not as good or I used to love it and now I don't. I'm just more confused. Like, I don't know how to feel anymore. I'm more confused than I was because I think it would really work well as a dark, creepy character, but that's not the direction they went with. So like when I saw the cover from Mahfood, I'm looking at it behind you. Like that's a creepy ass cover. You almost look like it's going to be this like badass creature demon type thing.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it turns out it's like this, like mythical creature that, humans talk about. And it's like this well-spoken. He's like, oh, my mom's back there. We're about to go there. Here's a horn. Have a good day. Like now it's thoughtful, 3-horned harpic. So like you assumed it was going to be a thoughtful, but like, I just didn't know. And I'm not saying I disagree with the direction they're going with, but it's one that it was different than what I thought. And but by no means am I saying like my love for the character changed.
I feel similar about the Harpic. Harpic used to be one of my favorite characters, and still like it's in my top ones. So I think I just had higher expectations for it. Like the story was good, but it wasn't like feel it's very good, Like so it didn't blow me off my socks. So it wasn't. So I think if you have your characters, you just have naturally higher expectations. Like not just because I like the character, but like thoughtfulness is very important to me. So I feel like that a little bit of that in there, but not as much as I would have loved to see more of that trait in the story.
Which is why it needs a follow-up more than others, in my opinion. Because Harpic is and was always a top tier character, a top 10 people would put it in. And the issue, while not bad, didn't really progress the character that well. And if anything, like if that was your first introduction, you would not think that this is a top tier character. Just because it got a mini comic, it was barely in it. It didn't really do much. It was just like, it wasn't very interesting. It was just like, here you go. Have a good day. And, there's more of us. Like, yeah, there's some mystery about like how many are there. And it was almost like it was cooler when it was like a legend or like a, this mythical creature that they're hunting in the woods. And like, you didn't know what to expect. And not that we thought it was going to eat children, but like when it turned out to just be this like cool dude, that's just like, yeah, no problem. It was almost like, okay, so now what? Where do we go with it now that we have this base? And I don't know. And so that's the only,
I think especially too, like, as like, if you know VeeFriends, that's the only made up character.
Right.
In the entire 250 plus character universe, it's the only made up thing. So I feel like it just deserves a little more of like, where does it came from? Like it just deserves a little more than that.
That's why that was my answer to your question. Not understanding, it was more of, that's the one that I think needs a follow-up most.
Yep.
I like the Viking a lot, the issue. And so like, I don't feel like this is so desperate. Like the Viking went through some shit, woke up there, started battling. Like, I already think he's cool. Like, it laid the groundwork of this is a cool ass guy, character. I didn't get that from there, so it needs it. Okay, next one. This is the last one, and it's not really a discussion point. Can we get an Anne video, but instead of like the monster transition, it's bad intentions going from fairy brother to evil carrot eater?
When I tell you I have an idea for a video for a while, I can't do it with makeup. I would need to learn proper AI. And I won't put it out until I don't want sloppy shit. I have an idea for a video.
Enough of your excuses.
The turning. Says the right guy. You know what I'm referring to.
I know.
I have an idea.
Okay.
For a while in my head,
TBD.
and I'm not ready for it. Well, I need to find a different way how to make it happen that it looks good.
Okay. And then big news coming out. I mean, this at the time of the recording, we're about a week and a half before, but the robot episode. The robot issue number 10, first of the year, comes out this Wednesday, or we can order it this Wednesday.
By the time it comes out, last Wednesday. Yep.
Last Wednesday, exactly. So that's super exciting. A lot of hype around it. There's the first time ever that the alt cover has two different versions. So I think it has the same, but correct me if I'm wrong, it has the same print run of 10,000. And the same amount of, for the base cover by DJ, right?
Yes.
Who did okay, so the base written and interiors by DJ, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's exciting because he hasn't done interiors since issue 2. Or a cover, right? He didn't do any of the covers since issue 2.
Because usually the interior artist does a
right. So super exciting about that because he's an excellent artist. And then the alt cover usually has 2,000 copies, but there's two different versions of it. So it's a 1,000 and 1,000 split. It's basically the same cover, just the rare robot's face is different. One is like mad and one is not mad or happy. Do you have it? I was trying to stretch that sentence out as long as possible to give you time. Kind of similar to what I'm doing right now as I am just explaining in very many word salad type of explanation to get
too many posts
time so that you can keep scrolling and finding that.
That's next page.
Boom! Okay. And you were right there. You were right on it. Good job. Nope.
There we go.
Love that.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. All that for someone who's listening to not see any of it. So
I know.
But that's super exciting. First time. There are a lot of firsts. First of the year.
The biggest first. The metal cover.
So
it looks so good.
It looks so good. And you saw like he tried to bend it. DJ tried to bend it and like couldn't. So there's a one of one lollipop as always. And then there's a one of one metal, but it's a redemption. So there will be a blue ticket in your blind bag.
So the blue ticket will be printed onto the issue itself.
Oh, okay. Do you have to trade the issue in then?
I'm not sure. It sounds like, but since there's only one, I would assume that you don't. Because if you have it, you have it. It would be sad if you have to like let that go. But then again, you get the metal one.
You get
there's only 3 of the metal ones. So Gary owns one, DJ owns one, like 3 versions, and then there's the one on one.
Very cool.
Can you imagine?
Very cool. I hope it's not a one-off. Like because Lollipop is cool, but it's like I feel like it needs to be either customized or I don't know, like Lollipop.
I think they wanted to do it for this one because of the robot.
Right.
He had talked about in Making Comics Now, which is their podcast, which comes out each Thursday, by the way, guys. Don't miss it. That him and Andy were at San Diego Comic-Con, and one of the people there talked about that they can make metal covers. And they're like, so cool. We need to see this. Apparently you can make glass covers. There's like all these different types of covers you can make. And it was like, this is crazy.
But it's not just a cover. Like it has the book inside of it.
Yep.
Okay. So it is a comic book and just the
You can read it if you want to, yeah.
Right. Okay.
But it's just so cool. It's like something.
That's what I mean. Like imagine if they did like custom covers every time. Like I know that they won't, but having 2 one of ones, because we've only seen one Lollipop and it was of the Harpic.
Yep.
Makes me want to rip.
And then for DJ's cover, sketch cover, there's already a $1,000 bounty, which I think talked about it last time.
That's right. Which I think
probably low.
Yeah, I think someone would pay more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. And I think it incentivizes people to rip open. Like I like to keep a few sealed. I'm always going to keep some sealed. And that might annoy people, but like it annoys myself. It's sitting there. I bought a new comic box, by the way. I should get like an affiliate link, but I bought a BCW plastic one, short box, and these are all sealed. Not all sealed, but they're most of them, I would say 90% of them, 90+% of them. So like I've talked about long boxes and short boxes for comics. They're always by cardboard. I decided to get this one mainly because they're stackable and just the extra protection and all that from like, if there's a flood in my basement or something, like it should, I don't know if it's probably not waterproof, but it's stackable. So I can keep going higher.
I just bought bags and boards. What do you call them?
Yes.
Yeah, I just bought those, and I saw somebody's doing something really cool, and I want to do that with my comics. From the same company, they have comic store folios.
Come again?
They're called store folios, and you can open them, and if it like 14 books.
Cool.
And also somebody, because you can put something in, they created their own outside of it. So basically you can store, I want to store all 2025 comics in that, and then make a custom cover and stuff, and then it looks like an omnibus when you put it in. So that's what I'm going to attempt. So
I can't wait for collected editions. I think they'll be fun then. I wonder when they're going to do that, because like usually a collected edition, a trade paperback standard one is like 6 issues. If this is like anthology stuff, I wonder if they're going to always continue the VeeFriends line of issue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I wonder if they're going to continue that always for the introduction of it and then branch off for the popular ones or not. Usually like the oversized hardcover ones are 12 issues, 13, 15, something like that. So I'm wondering if there's going to be when that's going to come. We know it's coming. And then they'll get new cover and then the spines. It just displays like, this is why I don't collect single issues. It sits in this box on my floor. I like to have I have a big ass bookshelf with 16 cubes that I display all my comics. And that's when I'm deciding what to read. I can look here. I gotta, I do not like, aside from VeeFriends, I don't really do single issues. And that's why I like to display it. It's like a trophy. You know what I mean? So anyway.
We'll get there.
All right. You want to sign us off?
Sure. I also love that we talked about that. It's probably not going to be a long issue, and then we're almost up to 2 hours. So that's always how this goes.
It's how it goes. I mean, just cut some stuff out. Definitely cut me.
Things to talk about. People love listening.
Cut me forgetting and blanking out. That saves you 30 seconds.
Wow, that will do it.
Yep. I help when I can. You know what I mean?
So guys, don't forget to subscribe, leave comments, tell us what you feel about it, post about it. The more we can get us out, the more we get the issues out. What about we friends? My name is Ian. This is Tom, and we is a Canon. We see you guys next time.
4 away from 100 subscribers. We're only 4 away at this current moment. Do they send plaques for 100 subscribers?
I'll send you one. I'll make one.
I'll take it.
I'll make
Thank you all for whoever subscribed. We really, really appreciate it.
We do.
It means a lot.
Don't forget to read more comics.
Read more fucking comics. Just kidding. All right. We are going to do our giveaway for the Blood Red edition of issue 7, 9.0, signed by David Mack on the slab. Thank you to all of you who left a comment on YouTube. Most comments by far on an episode. I want to get. Oh, there it is. Okay. 50 comments. Now, some of those are your replies, but definitely the most unique comments we've ever had. I didn't count, but I wrote all the names. We're going to do a randomizer wheel that I'm going to pull up now of anyone who subscribes and left a comment on our YouTube channel. It had to be the YouTube. So if you left a comment anywhere else, you know who you are. You're not in here because I clearly said YouTube. So get fucked and go eat more vegetables or something. So here's the spin. Good luck, everyone. V-Scoot!
Let's go.
V-Scoot, our boy, Scott Wenger. from Scott's Honest Reviews, big YouTuber himself. Please go and subscribe to Scott's Honest Reviews and all of his channels as well. But V-Scoot, we will send you. I'll just hand this to you the next time I see you, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. You guys live close by.
He doesn't live that far from me. So that's the way I planned it. Okay, Anne, now you can sign us off.
My name is Anne. This is Tom. And we are Is It Canon? Or like how Jay likes to call us, Is It a Canon?
Is it a canon? Or it's a canon?
Yeah. No, it's called Is It Canon?
That's not right. But then again, you called to the moon something weird today too, or ChatGPT.
Yeah. And I also call numbers letters and letters numbers. So, there's that.
Yeah, we're all out here eating a shit sandwich. Like I said, just no one has their shit together. It's fine. Read more fucking comics.
More fucking comics.